Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. It's time, once again, for another depressing dose of dismal Disney. Headlines like these always put a big smile on my face because they're just so hilarious. Disney reportedly prevents Kathleen Kennedy from announcing new Star Wars projects. In other words, Disney told Kathleen Kennedy to shut the F up. Yes, it's hard not to laugh seeing this thing because it's just too hilarious for words. It's no secret that the lack of Star Wars news to come after either Celebration or the D23 Expo has been a major disappointment. The franchise's television future on Disney Plus is relatively clear for the next few years, though the theatrical waters remain murky. Any anticipation for film announcements has been met with Lucasfilm's trademark secrecy. Such a tight-lipped approach at Star Wars Celebration was particularly perplexing, given the nature of the event and the lack of positive motion picture developments in recent years. Much of the studio's main presentation was spent discussing the Willow series and Indiana Jones 5. A bonus for fans of those properties, but an irritation for people in Jedi cosplay who paid top dollar to attend. And yes, going to a Star Wars Celebration is by no means cheap. It isn't just the cost of the tickets, it's the cost of lodging and food, traveling there. It's a ton of money. People can spend thousands of dollars to go to this event. And for those who went and basically learned absolutely nothing about any new Star Wars projects, well, what can I say? I'm sure that they were very angry and disappointed. And who's to blame? Let's all just say the name Kathleen Kennedy. While a more general presentation at D23 is acceptable and unsurprising, the Star Wars segment of Lucasfilm's time on stage only provided updates for shows that could be done in tweets. The roof was far from blown off the building, and the Star Wars faithful expected nothing less. As head of the company, Kathleen Kennedy naturally draws the most ire for these lackluster episodes, but it may not be entirely her fault. The state of Lucasfilm is certainly her fault, as is the state of the Star Wars brand, because the sequel trilogy films have pretty much pushed the Star Wars brand into the dirt. Industry insider Matt Belloni of Puck reported that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy was advised by Disney to stop announcing projects and creative partners. The reasoning for the blockage comes down to media management, an effort to prevent fans and press from further tackling Lucasfilm following the cancellation of a slew of projects in recent years. The Rogue Squadron announcement video by Patty Jenkins and the exciting press release for Ruin Johnson and D.B. Weiss and David Benioff's respective trilogies are examples of Star Wars hype falling flat, an issue Disney is attempting to avoid. I remember all of the hype with these various announcements, and then nothing ever materialized. And Rogue Squadron was only recently canceled. And this was just reported back in mid-September. Disney officially abandoned Star Wars' next planned movie. Ever since Star Wars Rogue Squadron was announced back in 2020, fans have been wondering what exactly the film would look like. This was mainly because its release would mark the first movie in the franchise to hit theaters since the poorly received Rise of Palpatine, which was a load of garbage. Since then, not much information has been given on the development of Rogue Squadron, even when it was made clear that no Star Wars movie would hit theaters before 2024. Lucasfilm assured the world that the movie would be coming out and everything was still in development. Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's just more lies. And who is the author of those lies? None other than Kathleen Kennedy. Fans were given a promising update as recently as March 2022 when it was confirmed that Lucasfilm was still having conversations with Patty Jenkins, the director of the upcoming film. Sadly, it now seems that the good news was for naught. According to a new report, the Rogue Squadron film has either been delayed indefinitely or abandoned entirely. Yeah, this was just a huge disappointment for a ton of people. And it makes total sense that Disney may finally be trying to put a leash around Kathleen Kennedy's neck, but it's taken them 10 years to do it. So let's go back to the other article. Who is to blame for the Star Wars news drought? Lucasfilm had a good thing going from 2015 to 2017. Well, that's debatable, at least as far as marketing and brand awareness goes. The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi, though each received in dramatically different ways by fans and casual audiences alike, were shown off during every commercial break, across countless toy aisles, and even on pieces of fruit. What was coming next was hardly a concern. That abruptly changed with the approach to Solo, and things haven't been the same since. Aw, poor Solo, which lost money. Without the extended build-ups to new releases, Star Wars projects come and go with the wind, leaving fans asking for more before one thing has finished. And to this point, Lucasfilm has failed to meet those calls. Well, of course it's going to fail. Kathleen Kennedy is in charge. Star Wars is somewhat in a perpetual drought when there's arguably never been more content each year than now. What's often presumed as extreme caginess on Lucasfilm's part is evidently the result of the company following a directive from Disney. Both companies are many things, but they aren't completely clueless to fan perception. Between the response to the sequel trilogy and uproar over endless cancellations and delays, Star Wars fans have given the suits enough hell that can't go unnoticed. Well, one would hope. One would hope that somebody at Disney and potentially some smart person who might still be working for Lucasfilm would take notice and try to bring it to upper management's attention that Star Wars is a complete mess. Had things gone according to plan, Rogue Squadron would be landing in theaters next December. Yeah, well, it's not even going to happen now. Rogue Squadron isn't happening. Certainly not next year, and most likely never. The same can be said for an abundance of projects, some of which were eventually turned into Disney Plus series like Obi-Wan Kenobi. While there were some things that I enjoyed about that series, there were plenty of things in it that I didn't enjoy. If things don't blow up more, the next film now should be Damon Lindelof's project, reportedly to be directed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. The nature of the movie is unknown. Everything about it has been shared by the trades, not formally by Lucasfilm. Added to the list of movies fans would love to hear about at Celebration or D23, but apparently can't be publicly discussed. It's the smart move on Disney's end from a PR standpoint. Star Wars movies have been a revolving door since the company acquired Lucasfilm, even when new films were being released. But it fails to address the larger problem: why these pictures fail to get off the ground. Disney and Lucasfilm going silent on Star Wars films may avoid upheaval in the short term, but a continued lack of progress will prove fans to be less forgiving than Darth Vader. Well, people have wanted to see new content, and clearly Disney has let everybody down. I mean, even the people who actually did like The Rise of Palpatine and the trilogy, surely they are disappointed now because there is nothing really new. And the latest series to premiere on Disney Plus, Andor, that one really isn't doing all that well. There isn't anything really bad about it from what I have seen. People just aren't all that interested in watching it. And that's a serious problem. People have been driven away from Star Wars. And the one person who is the most responsible for that is Kathleen Kennedy. A while back, I started a video series called My Declining Interest in Star Wars, which I need to get back and work on some more. And the very first episode I did was about Kathleen Kennedy's broken promises. This is the only thing this woman does. She's a liar. She lies through her teeth, and nothing she says can be taken seriously. And I am glad that Disney has finally told her to shut the F up. It's about time that somebody over at Disney finally did something about this mess. Although the best thing that Disney could do would be to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. I think everybody would be very happy the day that that finally happens. Let's hope it happens soon. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to see more of our videos in the future and help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.